Okay, just as a reminder to make sure we're all on the same page here, make sure you're in model mode. You can go to view frame default just so we're seeing all the same things. Excuse me. And then make sure that the brush selection tool is selected, because if we've been using other tools here, make sure that brush selection tool is selected. And let's see. Okay, so I did frame default. Let's go to view frame all. That's okay, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to hold down the option key, click, hold, and drag to get a front view here. Remember, hold down 1, click, hold, and drag. I can pan. So we're going to make a hat for our little snowman here. So go over to the shapes, the cube icon, hit the drop-down menu. You might think a cylinder is the best choice, but actually a cone works much better. So choose cone. So we have this very large cone here, grabbing only the y-axis. I'm going to zoom out some here so we can see. I'm going to pull my cone out and away. Remember, you can use 1, click, hold, drag to pan the camera to get oriented here. So let's just, just looking at this, let's just kind of sort of, if we're in model mode, you can see this amber handle. We could pull it in and get a kind of an idea of how wide the bottom of the hat should be. And if we look over in our object or attribute manager, it says here the bottom radius is 42. That's actually a little bit, let's go with like 38 on that. And that's just, and you can change it a little bit if you want to. Now let's grab the top and get like a decent width here. He's not going to be wearing a pointed hat. If we go over to the object, the properties, the object properties in the attribute manager, we can click, hold, and drag the top radius slider. We want it just a little bit wider than the bottom. So like maybe, how about 45? Let's try that. It's not an exact science, right? And I'll grab the amber handle here in the center of the cone and pull it down to get like a decent, so I can put it, that looks pretty cool. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So let's check this out. Top radius 45, bottom radius 38, height is 66 and something here. Let's just change that to 65. That's fine. Height segments, we got to worry about that. Now rotation segments, let's increase that so it looks nice and smooth whenever we get finished with this thing. So let's go to 48. So that's the parameters for the top of the hat. And up here in our object manager, it's called cone. So let's type in the word hat. Okay, we're not done. We want a brim on the hat, right? So if we look at our primitive objects, you might think disc would work best, but actually a cylinder is the better choice. So let's make a cylinder. Pull that up and away. And what we'll do over here is, again, we want it nice and round, so we'll set the rotation segments to 48. And let's use the sliders here, and I'll zoom out so you can see. So like the radius, we want to come out a little bit, and then the height, we want the height like really, really tiny. So let's just input the number 2 in there. Okay, so now we can grab the y-axis and pull it down, and actually just from guessing the radius here, that actually turned out pretty good. So you can just look to make sure, like, you don't want the brim up here, right? You know, you want the bottom of the brim in line with the, or at least covering the bottom of the hat. So that looks really nice. Okay, so let's call this cylinder. So again, the attributes 65 radius, 2 centimeter height, 48 height segments. Instead of cylinder, let's call it brim. Now, logically, the brim should be a child of the hat, because if the hat moves, the brim should move with it. So click, hold, and drag, and drop the word brim, the brim object into the hat object. Okay, so that's all cool. And what you could do, if you wanted to, you could select the hat object, select the rotation tool, and give it just a little bit of a skew, and then go back to the move. You could go to the selection tool actually. With hat selected, you could pull it down a little bit, and you can pull it over a little bit, whatever. Or you could keep the hat straight up. It doesn't. It's okay with me. Whatever you think is best. And you can adjust the size of the hat if you want. If you want to make it a little bit larger, a little bit lower, closer to his eyes or whatever. But I'm going to keep mine like that. In fact, my rotation's a little bit too much. There. That is cool. All right, so let me go to View Frame All. And this, oh yeah, let's organize our object manager now. So again, hat should logically be, hat, brim, and hat should logically be a child of head. So click on the word hat and drop it into head. So now when the head moves, the face move, the face will move, the hat will move, so all is well. There's a couple of things we could do it. You could do it one of two ways. You can make head child of middle and then middle child of base. We could do that, and I guess that would make sense. Or another way we could do it is just to select all of these. In fact, let's do it this way, just so we have more practice with grouping objects. So select head, middle, base, click object, group objects, and call it Snowman. And now you're good to go. I think that's the better way to do it, because if we want to add like arms or buttons to the middle, we can make that the child of the middle, etc. So I think this is a pretty good setup. So if you're a student of mine, make sure that your object manager looks like this. Save your project, and if you're one of my students, you will upload, you'll submit the Cinema 4D file here. If you want to add buttons, you can add buttons. If you want to get creative and add stick arms, you could do that. And the next phase, the next part of the project, which will be due later, we'll add a scene to this. We'll put them in an environment with a sky and everything else. But this, for this point in the course, this is a good start. So good for you. You got Snowman Phase 1 completed.